I have to tell someone a simple game of tag that has ruined my life. It was 10 when it started. My old town sat in front of a dense forest, and nearest largely populated area was at least an hour away. My neighborhood was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, but I won't bore you with those details. My older brother Patrick, who was 14, tagged me and I chased him down the street. I watched him jump the fence that kept the little kids away from the forest. Patrick waved from behind the fence. "I guess I win then, don't I, Harry?" Patrick asked, looking at me with a smile. "No you don't. It's not fair." I whined like a little baby. "What? It's not fair that you're scared of the forest?" I sighed and walked over to the fence and climbed over. I looked back over at him and he ran into the forest. "Hey Patrick," I screamed, running after him. Following the sounds of twigs cracking and leaves being pushed into the ground, the sun began to set and I stopped. "Patrick, come on, we have to go home. Mom said we have to be there before dark." I yelled with no reply. I began to grow anxious. "Patrick?" I was filled with worry, but I knew it was one of those stupid jokes. I walked for another minute before calling for him again. "Okay, fine, you win. I'm going to leave you out here if you don't come back now." No reply. I began walking home through the forest, arms crossed. The summer sun had begun to set farther, beyond the horizon, and it was growing colder. Halfway through my walk I heard footsteps. I turned around only to see trees. I picked up the pace, walking faster and faster until it turned into a sprint. The footsteps followed, but I didn't look back. I knew it wasn't Patrick. Darkness fell over the town. As I got to the fence and grabbed onto it, trying to pull myself over, something was grabbing my shirt, trying to pull me back into the forest. I screamed and watched Miss Hagney's porch light flick on, just as I felt a cold whisper in my ear. "Tag, you're it." It let go, and I pulled myself over the fence before everything went black. I woke up in bed, my mom beside my bed, and a book in her hand. She looked over at me and almost dropped the book. "You're awake," she practically screamed into my ear. John, he's awake." I walked her dash into the hallway before coming back. "Where's Patrick?" I asked, concerned. My mother's face of relief and excitement changed quickly. "Mom? Patrick? Honey, it must have been a dream. You were found lying in the street, passed out, and you didn't wake up for days. I thought you were dead." No, Mom, Patrick. My older brother. He's 14. Same dirty blonde hair, same brown eyes, a big pimple on his forehead. He was born in June. It's only ever been me, you, your father, and your little sister. I think we need to call a doctor. Hold on." She walked back into the hallway. After a while, I believed my older brother was a dream, that I simply went for a walk and passed out on the street. I even asked Miss Agnes. She doesn't remember me being in the forest. We moved when my little sister Mary turned 6. We moved to a way bigger town, and I was 16 with new friends, and I had just forgotten about my brother. I was sent out to get my sister Mary from one of her friend's house, a few blocks away. I had been walking with my girlfriend at the time, Jessie. "Well, this is my stop. Tell Mary I said hi," Jessie said, walking up to her porch of the yellow house. She blew me a kiss, and I walked away. "I sure will," I said, walking happily. I whistled down the street when I heard it. Footsteps. I turned around and saw no one. I passed it off as my imagination and continued walking, but I could still hear those footsteps. I began to pick up the pace. The street lights gave me comfort in the darkness. The house was only around the corner. I broke into a sprint. I began to remember my brother, and I wasn't going to let it get Mary. I ran up to the porch and banged on the door. I turned around and stared in horror. Coming down the street was that thing. a long pale white face, and its face open to an abnormal length. It had stubs as arms, with hands at the end, and no hands. Its legs were also stubs, and the rest of its body was black. It was whispering something. No teeth were in its mouth. Its eyes were the worst part. They were just red, memorizing holes that seemed to be carved deep into its body. I screamed as I banged onto the door, turning back to it, and I tried to open it myself. It swung right open. "Harry? What's the matter?" the woman asked as I dashed into the house, my face drained of all color. "Shut the door before it gets in." Mary and her friends, the twins, were just staring at me. Their father walked into the room quickly. "Harry, do you need me to call your mother?" the twins' mother asked. I didn't answer. I was so shaken still. I watched her pull her husband into the kitchen. I looked out the window. It was standing on the sidewalk staring at the house. I wasn't going to take my eyes off this thing, no matter how much I hated it. A tug on my sweater made me jump and turn back quickly. It was Mary. I looked back outside the window, and it was gone. "Dang it, Mary," I screamed at her. The twins' mother called my mother. We were forced to walk home, as my mom had a car and she had to work, and they didn't have a car either. I gripped Mary's hand and walked quickly. "You're going so fast," she whined. "No, I'm not, Mary. We have to hurry." I picked up Mary and began walking as fast as I could. She didn't complain. I turned around and it was there. I began to run with Mary. She kicked and screamed, complaining I wasn't holding her right, and she wanted to get down. She finally fell out of my arms onto the grass and began to cry. Of course I stopped for her. "Mary, come on," I screamed at her, trying to get her back up. She refused and rolled over in the grass crying. It was getting closer. "Mary," I tried to drag her, but she kicked and screamed. I looked back. It was close. "Mary," I shouted at her. She finally began to stand up, only to scream and scramble back. I turned around and stared into those eyes as they said the words, "Tag, you're it." I haven't seen it after that. I'm 39 now, with a daughter and a son. My parents said I was an only child. I had weird dreams about having siblings. Jesse believed my stories after a while. I went off to college and became a lawyer. I live in the city now. I'm writing this in my office, but I'm terrified. One other coworker who was working late with me left the door open for the repairman who was coming in to fix the vending machines. I was going to the bathroom and I saw it cross the street. I ran back to my office and peed in a Gatorade bottle. I keep looking out my window. It was outside the door a few minutes ago, and now it's not. My coworker left and the repairman is on the ground level. I hear footsteps coming up the stairs. I think I'll be returning home with one less family member.